All right, what's going on? Welcome, guys. Welcome to the party here. This is the SRU Spotlight. Waiting for Mr. Brian Grebbien to join me here. As soon as we get him on, we will invite him to join us live here, folks. Guys, this is our SRU Spotlight. This is basically behind the breakthrough, right? Where we want to go ahead and show you stories, basically stories in hopes to inspire you to see what members have accomplished, what they've done since they've been on this journey. And I think it's a good thing to be able to show. I know that when I first started out here, I was definitely looking for inspiration, looking for others to kind of show me the way a little bit and see what was possible. And the stories were, invite a speaker, inspirational, and they give me hope, and they show me what really could be done. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Brian Grebbien on. I met Brian while he's getting logged on here. He's invited. So hopefully, Brian, if you can hear me, buddy, you should have seen a pop-up saying that you're invited to join live. And yes, we are live. So we do this with everybody sitting in the chat room with us, watching us try to put this together and get this going. But it looks like we're connected here. Outstanding. There he is. That's the guy we're looking for, my man Brian. All right, guys. So this is Brian Grebbien. Those of you that know him, you love him. If you haven't met him yet, if you're lucky enough to get a sneak peek into what he's been doing lately, and since he's joined the Storage Rebellion. And I met Brian. I remember our bus ride in Arizona. That was, to me, our connection. Like, we just had about a 45-minute bus ride in Arizona at one of our insiders retreats. We were out there and we were heading on a big chartered bus going out to do side-by-sides and dune buggies and real cool stuff out in the desert. And during that 40-minute drive, Brian was on the bus and we just got connecting. He's just one of those easy to talk to people, super genuine, super real. And I could tell that day that he was going to be successful. I just didn't realize how fast he was going to do it. But with that being said, I don't want to give you your whole thing. That's my 2-minute introduction, Brian, but I want to open it up to you, my friend, and just give us just kind of a 60-minute, 60-second overview of you, kind of where you're from, a little bit of a backstory, and then we'll dive into some other questions.
All right. Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. I got you loud and clear.
Volume's good. Okay. Brian Grebbien, married 32 years, 3 children, 2 grandkids. I live in San Diego, California, and had a 34-year career as a firefighter, fire captain in Los Angeles in the Compton area, and looking for a balanced life, looking for something real, looking for something that I can control, something that I can spend. What I was designed to do on this earth is to spend time with my family and give back to others. And I didn't have any of that for 34 years. So that's me in a nutshell.
Love that, man. Love that. I appreciate it. So you're out in California.
Yes, sir.
And we labeled this from firefighter to self-storage investor. I had a few things in there, from fighting fires to finding freedom, from, oh man, all sorts of good stuff with you. But at the end of the day, like, why? I understand the why, right? That's your driving force, right? You were looking to spend more time with family. You realize you just were not living the life that you felt you were put on this earth to live. Although you were serving others in such a capacity, being a firefighter, that nobody can take that away. But maybe it just wasn't quite a long-term plan for you, right? I mean, family-wise, life-wise, health-wise, just makes sense. So why self-storage? All right, a lot of asset classes, a lot of things to do out there in the world. What brought you to self-storage? I didn't want to play with these metal boxes, man.
To add to that why a little bit more is, it was a wonderful job, service industry, love to serve others, but I couldn't serve what was even more important, was my family, my kids, and those surrounding me and those who I cared about. I had no time for that. They had me forced to work 100 plus hours a week, 100, 144 hours a week, sleep deprivation, PTSD, no recovery, and I had no time for anybody and no time for my wife emotionally, my kids, and just not a way to live. And so I wanted to take the reins back and figure out how do I live the life I was designed to live, and to offer my services in a way that is truly beneficial to those around me. And I was stuck. in that kind of job, you can't go anywhere. And so I had to figure out something on the side. So I tried all kinds of different things, insurance, real estate agent, um, all kinds of other things, handyman, other side jobs. And I just realized I've always loved real estate. So I tested the waters with single family, short-term rentals, all kinds of different things. And I landed on storage being the best asset class. And I knew that was the way out. I knew if I could build that business, I could walk away from this W-2 and this life of just unbalanced life. And so that was my why. And that's what brought me to self-storage, was just research, trying other asset classes, and finally finding one that I knew had a great expense to income ratio, and that would give me what I needed for my family and myself to recover and be truly offer back to this world the things that I have.
Love that, man. Love that. Absolutely. That's huge. So the income, I just want to, like, on the self-storage thing, because you did your research, right? You didn't just happen to fall into self-storage. So income and expense ratio was a big thing. And I hear that a lot, right? People that maybe even come out of multifamily where they're running like 60% expense ratios compared to our, 30 to 40% expense ratios. And I think, right, lien laws are another thing I think that really, really favors
Absolutely.
us as self-storage investors. Somebody doesn't pay you 30 days, you're locking in that lien 60 days, and obviously no one gets excited about auctioning anyone's items, but the process of getting your unit emptied and rent ready for the next person is way, way, way easier in our life of self-storage than I think it is in the multifamily world.
Yes, and I've been through the headaches of tenants that don't pay and trying to get them out, and multiple issues with that, with multifamily and single family, and this just had more in your favor right out of the gate. Storage had, you didn't have as many obstacles and issues, I guess. They all asset classes have issues, but this one is minimal, I guess, and easiest to overcome.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like we're dealing with people's extra stuff for the most part, right? The stuff that used to be really, really important, and now it's important enough to keep, but not important enough to get rid of, and not important enough to keep at our house, right? So it's very different than when you're talking about people's livelihoods and the actual roof over their heads. And that's, I agree, that to me, self-storage, beat multifamily all day for that. Before we move on, we've got a handful of people in here because you are drawing quite a crowd, my friend. And so I want to let all of our participants know that if you do have any questions or anything for Brian, you're more than welcome to drop them here in the chat. And at the end of this call, we will make sure that we get your questions answered. But we appreciate you guys jumping on here today and meeting Brian and hanging out with us. So, all right. So we've got a lot of why and why self-storage, what drove you to it. Brother, I knew you were going to succeed. I knew it was going to come quick for you. I just didn't realize how fast. Would you mind diving into some of your recent successes that you've had in such a short period of time since you started the self-storage journey of yours?
Sure, yeah. So let's see, I started 2 years ago and doing my research, trying to figure out what to do, where to go, how to do this, how to navigate it. Do I take this on myself? My wife at the time was very cautious of partnering with anybody, want to do everything by ourselves. And that's a long path. You can do that. And so I started researching mentoring programs, masterminds, doing my research there. And Mike and I connected, and I felt like this was going to launch. I was on 34 years, 2 years ago. So 32 years, I did not have 15, 20, 30 years to build this business. And you need that if you're going at it alone. So you can, what do they say, Shane? You can go
further with others.
With others, and yeah, exactly. So I knew
Right.
that
Rising tide lifts all ships. To team, together,
yes,
everyone achieves more.
yes, and I knew I didn't have the time. I had a very short period of time. I needed to get out of my W-2 as fast as possible, and if I was going to go out alone, not going to happen. So looked at masterminds, fell in love with this one. Mike and I connected, we joined, and I gotta say, just connecting with the people in the group and introducing myself and telling them what I'm looking for, and just what can I do for you, and what's your story, just really connecting with everybody at one of the conferences. um, I ended up getting my first deal from somebody in our group who didn't want it and said, hey, have at it, take it.
That's
And
where my
I had
first
to
one
do
came
my
from.
work. Yeah, I had to do my work, and I had to create the relationship with that seller, and that took a lot of work, and that's probably why that person didn't want it. But uh, and just getting after it and staying focused on it, landed my first deal in the first. I think I got it under contract in the first 3 weeks after that first conference, and then we closed. So that was amazing, and partnering with people in the group to make that happen. So, and not just that, but using this group as a sounding board. I'm like, okay, I got it. I got the relationship. I got it under contract. Now what? And I just poured into the community. The community came back and supported me, and all of us together were able to make that first one happen. Then I was able to get one the next year in another state, and then I was able to. And now I thought I had to do this. I had to build this business to meet the income that I was walking away from, so that I could step off and just have this beautiful life. And you guys pushed me, showed me, shared with me how you don't need that at all, but you do need that time. And it took a while, but you guys convinced me, and it was the best thing I ever did. So in October, this last October 24th, I walked away from the W-2. My income
Yeah.
from storage was nowhere close to
Nope.
my income that I'm making at all. But I did it. I took a risk. I trusted you guys because you never let me down. And now I have closed, since I've been out, closed another deal, invested in another deal with other groups, people in the community. And I have two others I'll be closing in the next month. And then another one closing, a big one closing probably in August if we follow through with that one. So that's going from 1 to 6.
Like 2 years.
Yeah, but 4 of them in the last month or two.
Sure.
So now that I'm home and I have the time and I have the mental capacity and the freedom to really get after it and follow what you guys are showing me. And again, using as a sounding board, using as partners, using all this group, you're really tapping the resource. And tapping that resource has accelerated me. It's not me. It's me taking action using the resources that you guys provide. Bottom line. And I couldn't do any of this. Even if I was taking action, I wouldn't have the resources if I wasn't part of the group. So partnering, resources, sounding boards, underwriting, everything. Yeah.
Wow. That's, I want to just touch on that a little bit. Well, for one thing, a question. Like, at this point, how does your wife feel about your partnerships and the community you've joined and the way that you're structuring and taking down deals?
Yeah, good question. So, there's all these things that hold you back, right? A lot of it is your own mental capacity, your mindset, and what you know, and all your confidence and those things. And that was one thing that held me back a little bit throughout the process. But when I got in that place, then I just started reaching out more and reaching out more, and that just relieved it. And I'd come to another place where my mindset was small, and I would reach out and connect, and then it would open up, and that opening just kept expanding my mind. Well, my wife wasn't doing any of this stuff. She has a full-time job. She was working. She wasn't doing any of that stuff. So she was still stuck way back in that very fearful place, not trusting anybody, until one day I said, please come to an event with me. And she says, I'm actually off those days. I will. And she goes, I am going to leave if I see some, snake oil and sharks and whatever.
She was keeping a sharp eye on us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And but what was beautiful was, and I just let her do her thing. I talked to we all networked and talked, and she just put people through the ringer, and she came back and just loved the program, loved the people, and then was inspiring me. Hey, get after this. You're not doing enough. Keep going. And so that was one thing that was really holding me back. And when she really learned the heart and the love of the people in the group, she just blossomed and came. Now we're on board. We're doing this together. We're partnered, and we're moving forward faster. So I'm really excited.
Well, you're giving me goosebumps here, man. I got to tell you, I just absolutely love it. This is fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, I think you've covered a lot of this or some of these. I want to touch on the decision that you made though, because you said that we inspired you and pushed you a little bit, if you will. And I had to make that same decision, like where I was in my career at the car dealership, to replace that actual income that was happening. I don't know. I like still chucking at it somehow. Like I thought that's what I needed to do. And like you, my first retreat I went to with the insiders, I sat with the Ian, I sat with Ken Holmes, and it changed my perspective, right? It just changed. And it wasn't even that I was wrong in my perspective. It was just the frame I had to look through at the time. It's what I had to work with until sitting with someone else that had maybe gone through these things, these struggles, these steps, these decisions, and ultimately left my job as well with nowhere near the income lined up that I had just walked away from. But what that did, but burning those boats it did two things for me. It like turned up the pressure, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, I've committed now. This isn't something I'm just trying out. Like I have quit a job to say, this is my full-time thing I'm doing. But the other thing it did, and it sounded like it did similar for you, is all of a sudden, like a few days out of that dealership, like I felt like a fog was lifting. I felt like I was seeing things clear. I don't know, my thoughts were clear. I was sleeping better. It's just like things were just clear, and things started to fall into place. So that first deal that we got while I was still at the W-2, same thing. And it took a while to get that second one. But like you, once that second one came, it felt like we went from like 2 to 7, like super, super quick within like a 7-month window. And I think that's just important for people to hear. Whether you're trying to quit your job, not quite trying to quit your job, that's not everybody's motivation. Although we encourage quitters. We're all about being quitters here in this community, but certainly, to each their own. However, making that decision and being willing, I think that's really what I want to point out, is the mindset, the commitment to you, yourself, your family, to make that commitment, to make such a huge leap and to burn the boat the way you did, just showed that you were all in, and the result is now there, right? Like we're not talking about a story about how you left your job and it didn't work out. Now you're going back, and like, so that's an amazing thing. What were some, I guess we all run into some roadblocks and hurdles as we go, right? Like it happens. It's any part of life, right? Self-storage investing, no different. Owning and operating storage is no different. What are some hurdles or struggles and maybe roadblocks that you feel you faced that others may face, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. Thank you. Well, one of them was my own mindset, and that was just tapping the resource, diving in as more and more and more and more. The other one was making sure that my wife was on board. That was a huge roadblock too. So I would encourage you to do whatever it takes to not preach at your significant other who you want to do life together with, but bring them along lovingly, slowly, whatever, because you need that support. You need that. You don't want to do something they're not comfortable with. So that was another roadblock. And then actually, as far as business, the roadblock too was just time management, right? And I think we all struggle with this in all areas, but for me, it was finding a one that works for me, but some type of time management, time blocking for the day, putting down my tasks to get to the goals that I've set, and then doing it, and actually doing the 20% of stuff that's going to get me where I want to go, instead of getting bogged down, frustrated, overwhelmed, wanting to procrastinate, and then I end up doing the 80% of stuff that makes no difference and won't change anything in life. So that was a big one for me. And that one, since I've been home, quitting your W-2 is great, but then you got to go, how do I manage my time? And man, you have time to do anything and everything or nothing at all. So for me, it was, I need to keep these tasks, spiritually, physically, business-wise, relationally, all those tasks. I had to keep those in the right order all day, every day. And finding a great journal for that, for me, made a huge difference.
That's awesome. That's absolutely amazing. So true. And I don't know that well, in my experience, it hasn't quite gotten any easier, right? Like I left a while ago. But like things change in life. So, right. For us, we also just moved and we bought a house and we're closer to the kids. And then just as we're kind of getting into this new schedule, having the kids all the time, going to school, boom, summer break. So now they're like, do you still have me, Brian?
I do now. You were gone for a while.
I heard that. Yeah. See that we lost Shane. I'm glad you guys cared enough to notice me. Thank you very much. I don't know where I went. Were you there by yourself?
I think the
Jeez.
others were there.
I didn't touch anything. I swear, everybody, I'm still here. I apologize for that. But yeah, two more just quick things. One, like if you could leave somebody, our members, with a tip, trick, or just a piece of advice, what would you want to leave them with?
Well, again, I'm gonna keep hammering in, tapping the resource, and keep connecting, keep creating relationships in this network, in this group, um, and persistence. If I could work 144 hours a week with hardly any sleep at all, you guys could do this. I know you guys have tough jobs, rough jobs, tough W-2s, and if that's your goal, is to walk away from your W-2, there is a way for you to find that time to make it happen. And that's what it is. You got to make it happen. You got to get off your butt and find minutes here, minutes there, another extra coffee, whatever it takes. By doing that, taking those small actions and connecting with the people who want you to succeed. They want to pour into you. They want you to succeed. Right now, there's 2 or 3 of these facilities that I'm doing. I'm a part of that because I'm helping somebody else get started. So people want to help you. People want you to succeed. In turn, they succeed. So I would say get after it, no matter what, and persistence, 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 and just dive into the network, dive into the chats, contribute, make connections, and I'm going to focus you guys right now on that because that will launch you into whatever you want for your family and for yourself. Period.
You're absolutely right, man. That's gold. I hope everyone paid attention to that. Rewind this for 2 minutes. Listen to Brian say that again. That is key. I attribute all of my
If you
success. Are
do
you
those
losing me again?
things, all the rest of it will fall into place. Don't worry about
Absolutely.
the minutia. Don't worry about all the little things. We will support you. We will help you. You will succeed. Just focus on that only. And later, all the other things will start adding in. And we can help you whatever you don't know, we'll fill in. When you do know it, you can move on to something you don't know. But until then, just dive in.
That's absolutely gold. That's fantastic. We do have one question here. David Torres was just asking, and this is important because I think us having a why we're doing this, we have to make sure that it's our partner, right, that also has that same why, right? Dan Martell, actually a podcast I listened to this morning, Dan Martell talking about how he had a fiance and she ended up leaving, and it was because he thought he was doing everything he was doing for them and their future, where she hadn't asked for any of it, and it was kind of that thing. So David's asking, how did you and your wife drop the fear of partnering? And I think a lot of that was her coming to the actual insiders retreat and meeting everyone face to face. Am I right?
Yeah, yes, yeah, that was a great question because we've been burned in the past in past partnering relationships, and we're not the only ones. A lot of people are out there, but the way we dropped that was meeting the heart of the people well enough until you feel comfortable taking action with them. So it's not just, hey, I met them for, at a meeting. It was following up afterwards and communicating with them and texting them and going to lunch with them and learning the heart of these people in a way that you're like, okay, now I'm comfortable. And for both of us to do that. The other thing is, so you get 70% of the information that way. Okay.
Mm.
You get 70% of the information because you're investing in the person, you're partnering with the person, not the deal. So get 70% of the information, get 70% comfortable with somebody. And then the rest of it is about the legal documents, the partnership documents, and all that kind of stuff. And you do one deal, you can even do a little bit, right? Just a little deal, or invest some money with them, but have all those legal documents done, the partnership documents done, all run through lawyers. And that's, if you wait till you get more than 70% of the information to understand if you're comfortable with somebody, you're never going to take action. You're never going to do it. So get 70%, take action. If it doesn't work out, move on. Don't do another deal with them. If it worked out great and all the legal documents worked and great, then you can do this again. So that's what I would say. Get 70% of the information on any deal, on any partner, take action, and it's dynamic. As you take action, you learn, and then if you can you pull out if you see something weird, and if not, you keep going forward. Have the documents to back you guys up, and at the end, it'll either work or it didn't, and you're going to learn something either way. You're not stuck forever with them. The deal will be over someday. You can sell whatever, but there's been a few bad partners in the past, but all in all, I think you're going to find something completely different with this group. It's going to be really hard to find somebody who is not a good partner as a person in this group with integrity. Maybe somebody doesn't end up maybe operating it the way you thought they should, but that's just learning too. So, but as far as integrity and partnership, you're coming into a group that generally speaking are wonderful people, and but learn about them, have as many lunches with them as possible, and many touch points until you get 70% of that information to go, yes, we are comfortable, and then move forward, take action.
That's awesome, man. That's perfect. I think you've covered this, but if I'm sitting here at the end of this call, I'm watching this recording, and I'm just like, man, I think this is the right group for me. I just need like one last push, Brian. Like, why should I really, really like consider joining you in the Storage Rebellion University and hang out with you and other like-minded investors?
Wow. Well, there are many groups out there, and they might be great, but I know this one now intimately, and I understand that the integrity and the heart of these people who want to just pour into you for your success is there. And it's very simple. It's really as clean as that. But research it enough. Maybe instead of joining, pay to come see an event first before you dive in. Do whatever it takes. Connect with people, call people, meet people, do whatever it takes. But this group is going to launch you forward they hold up the values and goals that you want for yourselves, and they will assist you in getting there. And I know that's true in my life, so I couldn't have done it without you guys.
Man, that's awesome. If someone's not sure, then at that point, I think maybe they're just on the wrong path. But I agree. I think this community has just been amazing, and I was shocked at the openness of it and the fact that we, do have, obviously, you can come into our community completely free and get access to a lot of our goods, including these recordings that we're doing here. And get a taste of it and just to see, is it your vibe, right? Are you going to mesh? Because not everyone's a mesh for, not everyone's a good fit for everybody. And I think I've always been impressed with how the Storage Rebellion has kind of vetted, and it has not been a free for all, just get as many people in here as possible. It is about the certain people that come in so that we can find the diamonds in the rough, the Brian Grebbiens of the world, bring them in and just be inspired by everything that you're doing, man. You're an absolute rock star. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time today. Any last words of wisdom before I close out?
That was a great point. Test it out, test it out either with the free materials. And I did that, and I was looking deep into the people's eyes and just trying to get as much as I could out of it and test it out. Join. If you don't like it, move on.
That's it.
No big deal, you know, but we would love to have you. We love people. We love good people. And it's a special group. So that's it.
Well, man,
Thank you.
you are an inspiration. Thank you so very much for sharing your story, Brian. I really appreciate you being here today. And thank you for everybody that's tuning in or watching the recording. We do appreciate it. I hope you found this helpful, guys. And obviously, you know, we believe we are the best self-storage investing community on the planet. That is what we strive to be. It is all about lifting each other up, helping each other succeed and achieve whatever extraordinary life you want to achieve. And we just happen to do it using ordinary garages as the vehicle. If you'd like to have deeper access to people like Brian, myself, and other storage rebels, you can go to the My Courses tab, I believe in the left-hand column of Mighty Networks. And there's a Storage Rebellion University tab. You can join us from the Share, Post, Interact group up to the Storage Rebellion University. We really try to just make sure that we help you in that university find, fund, and operate your very first storage facility, get to your next one, and work your way up where you are coming out to retreats, riding dune buggies and 4x4s out in the middle of the desert with us. That's the ultimate goal, to get people to those lives and beyond. So Brian, it's been an absolute honor to know you and to watch your journey, man. And I am excited. You're going to be in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
of course. I would miss it.
Yeah, no way, no way.
I would not put my number up there if I am not going to make myself available for anybody or any follow-up questions. So please, I'm here to help.
Awesome. Outstanding. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you guys. You can find Brian. There's his phone number. You can find him in the members tab. Just search him. And again, you can head over to My Courses tab. You can join the Storage Rebellion University as soon as today. Thank you very much once again, Brian, for your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And go on, Rebels. Go find that next deal. See you.